I am a humble man.
If you feel you don't belong,
I won't say you should follow me.
you are welcome. You are loved. Join us, and we shall reach the promised plain.
I'm not boastful, and my chorus is more soulful.
One of joy, one lacking pain. We are the cult of I am aware.
Don't say it. I can see
You
it.
feel you don't belong.
I don't wanna. You don't need it.
You are
Once again,
welcome.
we don't need you. What I'm needing. Don't say it. I can see it.
Join us.
I don't wanna. You don't
We shall
need it.
reach
Once
the
again,
promised
we don't
plain.
need you.
One of joy, one lacking pain. We are the cult of
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, how you doing? It's Wednesday, and it is 10 p.m., and you are here on Twitch, which means you're ready for another dose of hard history. Coups. They used to take armies, generals, battle plans, but these days, all you need is bad Wi-Fi, a conspiracy theory subreddit, and a bunch of fucking morons that are really committed and have tactical vests. Welcome back to Cultivad, the only podcast where we pretend we wouldn't stage a coup, but let's be honest, we're all taking notes on how it's done. Levi says, I'm on aspirin, not Twitch. Well, hopefully the aspirin helps you keep from twitching. That's right. Welcome, oddities. I hope you're all in for an interesting night tonight. If we burn, they burn with us. That's right, Levi. Wait, why is my chat not popping? Hold up. That's something wrong. That must be some kind of way out of here. Give me a second. I've got to fix something. Shit's always broken. All right. Well, something happened, and I know what I got to do. Hold on. Wouldn't be an episode of Cultivad without a couple of hiccups. Hold on. There we go. Maybe it'll work now. I don't know. Anyways, so before we get into tonight's topic, I do want to say that Levi and I were having a conversation earlier, and she was listening to a past episode of the Cultivad. I don't know if we were the Cultivad at that point. We might have still been the Odd Pod, but it was our episode on veganism. And she was talking to me, and she was like, I have never heard you sound so angry before. And it took me a minute to remember the episode because, my brain is a little broken from time to time. And so it takes me a minute to jog. Because I've mentioned before that when it comes to these episodes, at least in the past, everything happens so fast with the episodes that it takes me, like, I don't remember in the past what was going on with the episodes. There it is. Okay. We've got it now. It's working. But yeah, they referred to how I sounded as they've never heard me sound so bristled. And I was like, what the hell do you mean by bristled? I don't know what that means. Levi, you make me feel stupid. Explain. And basically it was, I would refer to it as my back is up, right? Like I'm agitated. I'm angry. And yeah, that episode, that took a lot of restraint and a lot of self-control because the individual that was causing it was taking a very arrogant and staunch stance on certain things. And, at that point we were we were more interested in trying to play the middle ground. And I guess theoretically we're still trying to find that middle ground. But for the most part now, I no longer care if someone's like, well, you're too this way or you're too that way. Fuck you. You're too stupid. Move on. Anyways, yeah, so they're going through the entire back catalog, and they have been. They're about 40 episodes in now, and I get messages every so often about the episode, and then it takes me a little bit to jog my memory and get there. But for those of you that are interested, if I'm not mistaken, this Friday night on Talking Tremors, live on YouTube, Twitch, or not Twitch, but YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, I believe Levi is convinced me to sit down and talk with them this week. So yeah, that, they intend to interview me, and and when I was talking to them about it, I was like, so what are we going to talk about? And they were like, you. And I was like, oh, that's a terrible topic. I know nothing about that guy. So, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe this Friday night over on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, Talking Tremors will feature yours truly. Anyways, let's get into stuff. All right, we've paid the bills a little bit. Tonight, we're diving into the fine art of seizing power, because history is full of leaders who skipped elections, grabbed the throne, and called it Tuesday. And well, considering recent events, it's looking a little too easy these days. So, what is a coup? Let's break it down. A coup d'etat, that's French for skip the election, take the throne, is when a group, usually the military or some very rich, very angry people, decide democracy is too inconvenient, and they're just like, yoink, the government is ours now. Like it's the last PlayStation 5 on Black Friday. It comes in two flavors. The military takeover, where they bring in the tanks, shut down the press, and congrats, you're in charge. And the soft coup. Why bother with violence when you can just gaslight an entire nation into thinking you already won? And in today's world, you don't even need soldiers or tanks anymore. Just a good disinformation campaign and a few angry mobs. And a little social media platform dumb enough to let it trend. And that's what we've seen, right? If you go back to when Biden won his election, immediately Trump was like, they stole the election. I'm the president. And unfortunately, the mush brain mouth breathers that follow him believed him wholeheartedly and refused to accept Biden as the president, refused to accept that the election was done fairly, which, let's be honest, we have no idea. We've never had any idea whether or not an election is being done fairly. We have faith and we have hope that democracy is being upheld, but realistically, we don't know. And there are some out there that would believe that democracy, the democratic voting process is just a fallacy. That there is an entire network of shadow government that is basically in control of everything, and they just install who they want at that given point. Whoever's going to push back the least against their agenda. Now, I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to that school of thought. I don't know if I necessarily believe that there is a shadow government and a one world conspiracy, new world order, all that. But I will say that as time goes on and the older that I get, there seems to be a little more proof here and there that it's leaning that way. So let's do a quick historical breakdown, shall we? Let's talk about Napoleon's coup. We'll start with a classic. 1799. France is a mess. Broke, chaotic, democracy barely holding on. Enter Napoleon Bonaparte. Did he campaign? Nope. Did he debate policies? Hell no. Did he just march into government, declare himself emperor, and dare anyone to stop him? You bet. A fun fact, instead of waiting for the Pope to crown him, Napoleon grabbed the crown and put it on his own head. That's like showing up to your best friend's wedding, pushing the groom aside and saying, I do now. And here's the thing. It worked. France didn't say, hey, you can't do that. They shrugged and said, he seems confident. And that's where we are, right? That's where we are with the Republican Party currently right now. And I can't even necessarily say 100% that it's the Republican Party anymore, because like there definitely seems to be a sect that is more cult-like when it comes to our tangerine tyrant, you know, our Führer. And they believe whatever swill, whatever horse shit he's shoveling at any given moment. And the funny thing is they'll claim that the left is doing the exact same thing. And you know, in some fashion, maybe they're right. Maybe the Democrats and the people on the left are willing to believe whatever horse shit and swill that they're selling as well. Because I've made it very clear. I don't like either party. I don't care if you're on the left, you're on the right. I don't care if you're Democrat, if you're Republican. If you're a politician and your lips are moving, you're lying. I've made it clear. The Republicans have more balls than brains, and the Democrats have more brains than balls. And the problem is the right doesn't have, they don't have any heart. They don't care about anything other than their wallets and their pocketbooks. And they're willing to push policies that will affirm their wallets and their pocketbooks. And somehow or another, the people in the lower class and some in the middle class are dumb enough to believe that all that wealth will eventually trickle down. Right? They believed in the whole bullshit that the Reaganomics said. Well, you know, if the rich are rich, you know, that wealth will eventually find its way down. No, it doesn't. They keep sticking in offshore fucking Cayman accounts, and they keep using fucking legal loopholes in tax law to avoid ever having to pay their fair fucking share. And who's left to carry that burden? People like you and me. The people who are struggling every day, who are going to work to jobs they either hate or just can't stand anymore, dealing with, people that they hate or can't stand anymore. And the Democrats are using people of color, folks along the Rainbow Road, and whatever else is the what is the word I'm looking for? The flagpole du jour for that time period, right? They use all of that as a fucking shield. They make the left believe that they're actually going to affect change and make policies and be able to help them. And then as soon as they get into power, they just stop caring. They don't do anything because they're either too scared, too weak, or too willing to try to play by the rules. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of both fucking parties. Right? Say what you want about what happened on January 6th, but that was a group of people who were tired of the shit and weren't going to take it anymore. Where is that attitude from the Democrats right now? They are literally watching our country be dismantled day by day, hour by hour even. And they're not doing anything. They're talking about it. Let's talk it out. Let's have a good old-fashioned sit-down. Let's talk about our feelings and express how what you're doing is hurting me. Fuck that. Pick up the pitchforks and start rallying. But I do understand why, in some fashion, that they won't. Because I do believe that is what the tangerine tyrant wants. right? Payless Putin wants a country that is so full of civil unrest, that is so angry that they're ready to riot. So the thought process is so he can declare a state of emergency and enact martial law. Because if he can declare a state of emergency and enact martial law and legitimately make an argument as to why it needs to stay, if he can carry that, honestly, I can't see us staying under martial law for 3 fucking years. But his whole end game is to never have to leave office. And if he declares a state of emergency or can put the country in such turmoil that he can do so, he might actually get his wish. But I don't have any faith in either side anymore. I know there are good Republicans. I know that there are people on the right that do have some heart, that do actually care about others. I know that there are people on the left that actually do want what's best for everybody. But the problem is we are continually being forced to choose between the shit sandwich and the diarrhea smoothie. And either way you go, you got turds in your mouth. And we just can't do that anymore. You know, I've been in debates on TikTok and on Facebook and back and forth, and I'm screaming human rights. And every time you get some fucking yahoo from the right that's like, well, voting for human rights is how we won and how y'all lost. No, how we lost is that a bunch of brain-dead, brainwashed, racist, mouth-breathing jackwagons voted for a billionaire thinking that he would give 2 shits about them. And now we're all paying the price. Let's get back to Napoleon. Lesson 1. Confidence can overthrow a government. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to be the smartest. You just have to think you are and exude that. You know, and that's actually true because, like, I am not what you would call an attractive man. But I've never done bad with the ladies. If I put my mind to it, I am very confident. And I don't care if I'm a 2. I can pull a 10 if I really want to because of confidence, because of humor. Because I'm willing to walk in and act like I have my shit together and seem like I'm not a neurotic, anxiety-ridden mess. So confidence can get you everywhere. Let's fast forward to 1973. Let's talk Chile. You've got President Salvador Allende. My mouth didn't want to work. Salvador Allende, a democratically elected socialist. And the CIA, not thrilled. So what happened? Well, the military stepped in. The U.S. gives a wink and a nod, and just like that, General Augusto Pinochet is running the place. And what did we learn? Well, the best coups come with American sponsorship. Nothing says freedom like a military junta. The CIA probably has a punch card for this stuff. After this many weapons bought, you get a free coup. Now, if the U.S. doesn't like your government, don't get too comfortable. This is lesson number 2. And now we get to the modern coup attempt. That's right. Yeah, I feel like Oprah should be there. You get a coup, you get a coup, you get a coup, everybody gets a coup. But now we get to the modern coup attempt. And that was basically organized through Facebook events and misspelled tweets. January 6, 2021, a former president, who shall remain nameless for legal reasons, decides losing an election is optional and sends his fan club to take over the government. No military, no tanks, just dudes in face paint running through the Capitol like it's a mall opening in the 90s. And somehow, it almost worked. See, coups don't need armies anymore, just a dedicated fan base, and like I said, bad Wi-Fi. We have so much disinformation out there at this point. And this will be an episode to come in the future, so don't let me get ahead of myself, but the internet has become a hellscape. What was seen as a technological revolution for sharing information and ideals across vast distances has now become a source for your aunt to figure out that the lizard people installed Biden and the laptop was actually secretly a Decepticon. We believe anything that's presented to us. We don't do fact checking. We don't check sources. We don't do anything that would resemble any kind of intelligent thought when it comes to the information that's presented to us. We take it at face value. How most people don't even fucking read an article. They just read a headline and have a snap reaction to it. We are steadily getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And that's not just my opinion. There have been studies recently done showing that the average IQ of Americans is falling at a rapid rate. Levi, I know, lives in a small town. And so when I say this, she'll know that this is true. Over there is where the books tried to get me. It's like people are afraid that education and information and knowledge is going to somehow steal their livelihood. I really don't understand it. I really don't. And I try to. I really do try. I try to figure out where we went wrong, how we got here, and how we can fix things. And I keep running back to we're afraid to be intelligent. And the only thing I can think of is it's still that fucking Cro-Magnon thought process that we all experienced in fucking school, right? The jocks, the gearheads, and the fucking the jocks and the gearheads all looked at the chess club people and the fucking drama club people and the music nerds and, you know, the computer club people and everyone that was like really smart looked at them and made them feel about this fucking big for being smart. Right? You were bullied because you were intelligent. Oh, look at this fucking guy. He's reading a book. Yeah, why don't you fucking try it? Why don't you read something more in-depth than a goddamn playbook? Motherfuckers can barely read the back of a cereal box and are shitting on others because they've got good grades. Well, the joke's on them because as time progressed, the geeks inherited the earth. The people that you shit on in high school ended up being your boss. And in some cases, that isn't necessarily true. In some cases, you've got dumbasses in small towns that are reliving their glory days of the one fucking touchdown that they were able to get. Like they're Al fucking Bundy trying to lick his wounds after a day of shoving fat feet into tiny shoes. Right? They never left their small town. They never experienced the world, the society in big city. Oh, they ain't got nothing for me. As long as I got my bear and my tractor and my cousin, I don't need nothing else. And what's sad is there are some truly intelligent people in each one of those small towns. And they're only allowed to show a fraction of it. Because if they show too much, well, now they're uppity and they think they're better than everybody else. So they have to constantly walk this weird line of being as intelligent as they are, but presenting themselves as dumb as everyone else. They have small minds. They have rule attitudes where if it ain't white, it ain't right. We are in 2025 and sundown towns still exist. If you are going to tell me that intelligence isn't hated, then I will assume you are one of the unwashed, unread. They have Fox News on a loop. They refuse to watch any TV show that isn't fucking Gunsmoke or some shit like that because all of that shit's too woke. The real intelligent ones live in the country and get online to order their groceries for parking lot pickup. No, not necessarily. Some of us order our groceries to be delivered to our door because we don't want to have to deal with the public beyond walking outside our door and grabbing our groceries. Hi, I'm people. But we witnessed with this last election. That's fair. I get that. They don't know who I am, though. That's the beauty of living in a bigger city, is it's easier to be nameless and faceless. That was my big issue with living in a small town. I didn't like the fact that everybody knew when I took a dump what color and consistency it was. I didn't like the fact that if you kept to yourself, they just made up stories about you. See, here, you can slip away into the static. I like that. I like being nameless. I like being faceless. I like not having to put on airs just because there's like 60 people in the whole fucking city and you can't avoid interacting with the folks. But what we witnessed with this recent election is a betrayal. A betrayal to everything this country stood for. It was a betrayal to everything that the men and women of the armed services have fought for. It is a betrayal of everything that every decent-minded politician has tried to establish for our country in the past for moving forward. We were betrayed by the elite and the wealthy. And now they have their New World Order playbook that they're pulling from. And because they control the executive and the legislative and the judicial, there's nobody in place to stop them. They literally came in, overturned the government, installed a toddler, and are basically standing there watching the toddler shit himself going, "That's so good, baby. You are such a big boy. Yes, you can sign your name with a magic marker. No, it's fine. You did it on the wall. We'll clean it up. It's okay." We have an alcoholic running our fucking military, at least as of the time of this show, he was. We have a man who that every time he speaks, he sounds like a car with a bad starter running our health care. We have a fucking TV doctor that is in charge of other parts of our health care. We have a farce of a government. I only hire the best people, the greatest guys. No, you don't. You hire the dumbest, bootlickinest motherfuckers that you can find. And then when something happens, you're like, I didn't know. He seemed like a good guy. I didn't know. But you knew. You knew going in. So yeah, what we saw happen in our country, even though supposedly it was an elected official, was nothing short of a coup. You'll never get me to believe that Elon Musk didn't rig the election. Hell, they've even fucking said it. Mr. My heart goes out to you. Said the quiet part out loud. And so did, Payless Putin. He said it as well. And what's wild is because it's their guy, they're perfectly okay with it. If it was, a Democrat that was up there saying, yeah, I rigged the election. I had this smart guy help me, rig those machines, they would freak the fuck out. But because it's their guy, it's okay. And one of the things that I've brought up before is that what frustrates me is that the fact of comparing a politician to Hitler had become so synonymous with our election cycle that when we actually get a person in power that is legitimately mimicking moves that the Nazis made, we are so fucking desensitized to it that we don't even bat an eye at it anymore. Oh, yeah. They called Bush a Nazi. They called Clinton a Nazi. They called Obama a Nazi. They called Biden a Nazi. Reagan was compared to a Nazi. It doesn't carry the same weight anymore. There's no fear in having an authoritarian dictator left in this country. I, every day, struggle with the fact that I feel like I'm living in two different realities. On the one reality, I'm watching the country fall to shit. I'm watching rights be stripped away from people. I'm watching, policies be put into place that are very, very much against everything that I stand for and that I'm supposed to just sit back and be okay with. I'm supposed to quietly sit there and say, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. You have the SAVE Act, which is going to remove a lot of married women's right to vote. You have RFK fucking Jr. saying that he wants to put all people with autism on a goddamn registry. What are you going to do next? You're going to make them wear little stars? Why do you need them on a registry? They're already, their information's already in their medical records, which they are seizing to put people on a registry. Why do you need to put them on a registry? It would be a pink triangle, if I'm not mistaken. An upside down one. Where we're at is somewhere that is not going to be sustainable for the rational, intelligent individuals to exist. And next week's episode, we're not to the end of this one yet, but next week's episode is directly related to what I was just talking about with the autism and the registries and stuff like that. But we can't keep moving the way we have been. We can't keep expecting those that are choosing to be willfully ignorant out of fear and hatred to ever come around to our side. Now you watch, because they're already talking about how to incentivize people to start having sex and having babies. There's already different towns that are removing the word consent from certain pieces of legislation. And once these fucking idiots in the red hats feel fully emboldened, bedlam is going to break out in this country. And Trump won't call a state of emergency for his people, creating havoc and chaos. No, sir, he will not. It will be boys will be boys. You've heard Carolyn Levitt already say, boys will be boys. So what does that mean for our daughters? What does that mean for our wives, our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers even? What does that mean for any of the women that we care about? Thank you for the bit, Mr. Brown. This country is no longer going to be safe for women. This country is no longer going to have any protections for groups or individuals that need the most protecting. And again, this is right out of the coup playbook. This is right out of the how to be a dictator. Step 1, take your penis out. Step 2, slide a potato onto it. Step 3, you're a dictator. It has been 4 months since the start of this year. And look where we are. These 4 months have been the longest 3 years of my life. And we still have so much more to go. Each month it seems to be a new group that he's attacking. And it seems to coincide with, I hate to say this, but it seems to coincide with the awareness months. In February, he attacked DEI. right? February, he attacked DEI. In March, he started to come after, who was it? What is March's Awareness Month? Because I noticed this and it bothered me, right? Like I caught it and I tracked it, but I didn't really fully track it. Okay, March this month, RFK Jr. is coming after people with disabilities in the form. I hate even calling autism a disability, but they are. They're coming after people with disabilities. That started in March. April is National Child Abuse and Prevention Month, National Autism Awareness Month, National Minority Health Month, National Stress Awareness Month, and National Donate Life Month. I'm surprised they haven't come after fucking donating blood yet. So let's take a look and see what Awareness Month is May. Mental health awareness. Mark my words. Mark my words. There's going to be some dumb shit that comes out of that fucking White House that is going to attack. Well, they're already doing it. I saw an article earlier today that the federal government is going to start pulling funding for suicide prevention, specifically for I think it's 988, and that is the line that it had been set up for those who are members of the Rainbow Road to reach out when they are feeling suicidal. So it's already starting. Is this the America that we want to live in? Do we want to let some self-tan stain ruin what our fathers and our grandfathers and our mothers and our grandmothers and so on and so forth have fought so hard defending? Do we really want an individual who looks at a national park and says, look at all that land, we could put up condos? Do we really want someone who's going to look at our gay and lesbian and trans family members and friends and say, you don't deserve to live? Do we really want someone who's going to look at our family members who are suffering from mental illnesses and say that they need to be put in camps? Do we really want someone who thinks that autism is a disease in charge of what's best for our loved ones? Because for me, the answer is no. I do not. But again, I go back to, what are we going to do? Both parties have let America down. One through their actions, one through their inactions. I have never been proud to be an American. I have never been really all that proud of our government. I think our country could be one of the greatest in the world. I really do. Between the fact of so many different cultures and experiences and individuals within the United States, we could be one of the greatest countries ever. But the problem is even with that mindset, by saying we could be one of the greatest ever, that means that there are lesser countries. And I don't like that mindset. I don't like the mindset that one person feels that they're better than another, because nobody is. We all have different lives, different experiences. We all have things that make us who we are. And I don't know what to do about the parts of society that we disagree with. Because it's not a simple matter of just disagreeing with that part of society, right? It's not. Now, we can disagree all day long on simple things. You like chocolate ice cream, I like vanilla ice cream. You like German chocolate cake, I like cake that isn't going to put my loved ones into a concentration camp. But no, what it really comes down to is the agree to disagree mindset only works on very, very small things. On the bigger things, we cannot agree to disagree. I will admit, a lot of my social feed has become a bit of an echo chamber. But that's because I see no value left in the other side's opinion. It's ignorant. It's biased. And I don't even know what side of the fence to sit on anymore, because I don't want to sit with either one of those motherfuckers. You know, and the Green Party, that's always been a fucking joke. You know, and then what is it? What's the fucking libertarian? That's just lazy Republicans, if you ask me. So, what are our options? How do we come back? Who's going to step in and save us, right? Because typically, after a coup, typically the only way that a country is freed from a dictator is from the help of another country. So what country is willing to step in and save America? We've burned so many bridges, and I do know that the other countries understand that it's not all of the people in America. It's our government and a very large cult following the government. And it's wild, too, because most of them will consider themselves to be religious individuals and Christ-like and Christian and, you know, all that. And I'm pretty sure that book of theirs said something about idolatry. You're not supposed to worship the golden calf or something along that lines. Well, he's not gold. He's more orange. He's about the size of a calf. Actually, he's about the size of a full-grown fucking cow. But they sure do worship him. They swallowed every bit of bullshit that he was slinging, hook, line, and sinker. And there are a few of them that are starting to get buyer's remorse. Mr. Brown, I love you. You know that. I appreciate the support. Thank you. But like I said, there are individuals that voted for him that are starting to get buyer's remorse. But I don't think there's enough of them. And I think we're stuck. We're stuck as fuck. So, just to recap, how do we spot a coup? All right, folks. Are you living through a coup right now? Let's find out. Has someone declared an election illegitimate without evidence? Are government buildings suddenly the hottest new riot destination? Has the internet mysteriously gone down in key cities? Did your leader just give himself a new title which no one was asking for? If you answered yes to any of these, congratulations. You just might be living through a coup in progress. And before you ask, yes, America still meets most of those qualifications. Now, granted, the internet has not mysteriously gone down, but y'all remember when TikTok went dark for 24 hours? When it came back, it didn't feel right, did it? Something was off. Do you feel that the social media has become a lot more angled? A lot less open? Some might say yes. Do you feel that the spread of information has become less wide and more narrow? Are you no longer allowed to see news easily from outside our country? Well, yes, it has gotten harder to find information outside of our country. Is the media regularly being attacked if they say anything that goes against what the narrative from Washington is? Well, yes. You can see it in press conferences. Again, Carolyn Levitt. If she doesn't like the paper, or not the paper, but the media outlet, and it's someone that, Payless Putin has deemed to be problematic, well, then they don't get to ask any questions. I mean, for Christ's sakes, they're trying to go into colleges and overturn the curriculum so it fits their nationalist ideas. America was founded on the principle of open minds and the freedom of culture. Right? Like that's where all of it came from. The big fucking iron lady, or I'm sorry, copper, I think is what she's made out of, copper. The big iron lady in New York holding the fucking tablet in Crocs. And she stood for welcoming immigrants to our country. Most of your ancestors came through Ellis fucking Island. I don't know how we got here. Other than slowly but systematically, we have fought against everyone that doesn't look like me. Everyone who isn't pale-skinned and blue-eyed. Because somehow we believe that they're the devil. And they're not. We have become the villains in the story. We were always the villains in the story. We have had moments where we have been less villainous, but overall, our actions have consistently and continually been that of comic book villain status. And the problem is too is it's oh man. I understand why women chose the fucking bear, right? Cuz like all of the men that are in power are fucking terrible. Each one of you out there has a sister or a mother or a fucking girlfriend or a fiance or a wife or some woman in your life that has a shit ton of trauma because of people that look like me. They have been hurt and taken advantage of. Each one of you that has gay friends or trans friends has someone that has been hurt or traumatized by people who look like me. I don't hate my gender. I don't hate my race. I don't hate my sexuality. But I am going to tell you that it is very hard some days to look in the mirror and not see every label that's been put upon people that look like me. Because I look and I'm like, how am I different? How am I truly different? And of course you can say, you know, you're friendly, you're open, you're loving, you're caring. But at the end of the day, nobody knows that. That's all stuff that you have to take time to get to know. If you see me on the street, are you going to spit on me? Or you're going to smile? And I don't want that to be the legacy that we're known for. I don't want the legacy of America to be that we shit on everyone that doesn't look like me. And I'm going to go even further too, because just because I look this way, I'm still seen as a piece of shit to the people at the top. Because they see the skin, the eye color, and they see, well, you had every advantage. You had the cheat code. You had the council command. Why are you not more successful? I grew up poor. I didn't have access to the education. I did pretty well for myself, though. I understood what a library card was, and I understood how to use the internet and get the information that I was looking for. But I believe we are living through a coup. I believe that based on the information that we've been provided, we can definitely say the coups are stupidly easy to pull off, and that the U.S. has a long history of backing them unless it's happening at home. And democracy, it's really just a polite suggestion at this point. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Tell me what you think. How long before your uncle tries to stage a coup at Thanksgiving? Let us know in the comments, or just send us a voice memo of your exhausted sigh. That's all for tonight, my freaky little cultists. Keep questioning, keep laughing, and for the love of whatever government still exists by next week, stay weird. We are going to talk about autism next week. The title of the episode is Autism. You know, what built this country. There is no way in hell I am going to let what RFK Jr. is trying to do go by without commenting. And plan on a longer episode next week, too. Because there's a lot of shit to cover. Thank you to Levi. Thank you to Mr. Brown. And thank you to everyone else who popped into the chat that I saw that stayed quiet.